Sup team, on episode something-teenth of me being late to Twitter's Witter discourse, I have seen, well like a month ago but still, I have seen people dissing Deltarune Chapter 1. Not gonna try and make a big hook here, I just don't like seeing the slander. I don't. I frankly don't think it deserves it. No, not at all. So I am going to try and figure out why. This is a really self-fulfilling question here. Why? Why does Chapter 1 get pooped on? Why did the President of the United States of America AI generate a video of himself smearing gallons of liquid shit from a plane on Deltarune Chapter 1? Why would you do that, Donald? I especially find this interesting because of how beloved Deltarune is as a whole, and that mostly includes Chapter 1. Regardless, I do still see Chapter 1 consistently hit with the bottom 4 spot in chapter rankings, and in a sudden change of events, I'm sure. I actually kind of agree. I do think that Chapter 1 is the weakest out of the 4 chapters we have of Deltarune as of now, but that does not mean that I dislike it. Not at all, really. I see some people, a minority, but still some, who not only rank Chapter 1 super low in their minds, but also go out of their way to act like it is a coughing baby compared to Chapter 3 and 4's hydrogen bomb. When I just personally disagree. That's the heart of this video, by the way. A disagreement. Please spare me this time. This is my opinion. Opinion piece alert number 2. I don't need another 10-year-old giving me a death threat. Oh man, Flying Gorilla Glue Stick 2713, this is for you. Who cares? Okay, I get it. Who cares? Shut up. Shoots Roof. Shoots Roof 72 in the head. Causing this arslur to fall to the ground. Shoots his body. Shoots his body 10 more times. But anyway, I must repeat, big opinion piece here. Opinion piece number 2. Stay safe out there. Because, I'm telling you, I have seen some outrageous takes about the chapters on TikTok, but I still must say to respect other people's opinions, because I have tolerated these TikTok takes. Trust me, it is difficult seeing someone rank Chapter 4 as the second lowest chapter. Sorry, that's the TikTok ranking. That's for another day. Not even what we're here to discuss. So, as I already said, I agree with a lot of people on Chapter 1 being the quote-unquote worst chapter, but nobody really defends Chapter 1. Like, even though people do kind of mutually agree it's still good, just lowest, no one goes out of their way to defend it, instead choosing to solely point out the negatives about it. And I'm going to try and remedy this with a regularly scheduled glaze sesh in an attempt to defend Chapter 1, and hopefully make some people remember that it's only the worst by proxy, not actually bad. Dare I say that Chapter 1 is still good, guys.
Holy flip! He just said the title of the video. Chills! So cool. Gosh.
Alright, let's dive right into it here. The first major complaint I've seen the naysayers, is what I shall dub them, have about Chapter 1 is the combat system. While I have cured almost 100,000 of you guys' Dugenitis, thank you by the way, some may still be confused. Does Deltarune's battle system not stay consistent throughout the entire game? Well, for those who came in late, it mostly does. It stayed the same since Chapter 2, but Chapter 1? Nah. There are some key differences to be had that we must go over. For example, the lack of a robust mercy system. What do I mean by a robust mercy system? Ain't there recruiting and ain't there a mercy meter? Nar. Take this as a mini history lesson, I guess, because those suckers just didn't exist. Sparing was the exact same as in Undertale. just do the right acts in the right order until the name goes yellow. Now, this is besides pacifying, obviously, which, you know, name needs to be blue, but I'm talking about yellow. Sparing. Solely sparing. Pure mercy. Actually, and I'm saying this as I kind of forget, there might have been a gimmick that carried over into the new chapters from Chapter 1, where sparing an enemy without a yellow name did contribute like 20% or something toward actually sparing it, but this wasn't visible at all, and wasn't found out about in Chapter 1, until we knew that a mercy meter even existed in Chapter 2. Because, you know, you see, there wasn't a visible mercy meter until Chapter 2, obviously. But the mercy meter was always there, watching us. That's how the game tracks your progress towards sparing enemies internally. It just wasn't shown externally until Chapter 2. Make sense? Cool. I can't lie. I know I just said I would glaze Chapter 1, but I cannot defend the lack of a visible mercy meter. It's done internally anyway. It seems so essential now because there are literally zero benefits to not being able to see it. Like, I guess removing it could just add some, like, mystique, and I say mystique a lot in this, you'll see, but I don't think head Hathy warrants the same levels of intrigue as a Titan or something, so no, can't really defend this one. The naysayers got this. But what I can defend about Chapter 1's battle system, controversially so, is the lack of a recruitment system. You know, where sparing the enemies work toward adding them to your castle town, or fighting them makes them never want to see your face again outside of their own dark world. We all know about it because it was introduced alongside the mercy meter in Chapter 2, again. Little Vro just straight up did not exist in Chapter 1, but there wasn't even something internally for it. Your choices truly did not matter in Chapter 1, man. There was no getting stronger, no weird routes, no nothing. Not saying that's particularly better or worse, just interesting. Regardless of what ending you got in Chapter 1, whether all the denizens of the Card Kingdom helped you overthrow the king or not, you always got all of Chapter 1's goons to go to your castle town at the start of Chapter 2. I think this is perfectly fine. A while ago I saw some fans on Twitter's Twitter talking about a hypothetical Chapter 1 remaster with the recruitment system, but I feel like that would just be too much for a tutorial, no? They already expanded on Undertale's battle system so much in Chapter 1, with the party system, re-implementing magic, and just the whole overworld style. This was honestly visual overload as is after playing Undertale, so seeing a recruited pop up at the end of every battle just, in my opinion, would muddy things up at that point and almost be like full-on sensory overload. Now, I'm not saying the recruitment system in of itself is like terribly complex or something, but you gotta remember, paired with the shell shock that came with the total overhaul of going into Lancer's first battle, that'll just be too much. That would be way too much. And also, the recruitment system just would have been confusing story-wise as well. The entire vibe you get after entering the empty castle town and meeting Rousey for the first time is that it's just lonely. And since Rousey's character hasn't developed yet, at least, you know, we barely knew him at that point, it was seemingly going to stay that way. There was no way to know that we could bring friends back to Castletown. It didn't seem like that friendly of a place coming off of the cliffs. But if we were able to bring friends back, then the pleasant surprise of a bustling town at the beginning of Chapter 2 would be almost non-existent. The amount of stuff to do in the town would still be a surprise factor, but, you know, still. It would make Chris dropping all of the sparkles as they jump into the dark world have way less impact. So, that's the sparing system, done and buried. I think it's fine as is. Could have done with the mercy bar, and without the recruitment system. It's especially fine without the recruitment system. Its exclusion lets Chapter 1 stand as an incredible introduction to the world as a whole, rather than an introduction to the themes of the impacts and challenges that come with friendship. With that checked off, let's get into our next point here. This is probably the biggest one I've seen, the art direction. Compared to the other chapters, the Card Kingdom was just empty. Compared to Chapter 2's background hinting at a dense, saturated city, and Chapter 4's beautifully warped towers, dare I say, tilted towers, Chapter 1 was just blackness. There was stuff in the foreground, sure, and there was Card Castle in the background one time, and that was pretty dope, but just take the Field of Hopes and Dreams, for example. For the area that is seemingly meant to be one of the most hype in the game because it has a freaking music label for some reason, it just feels empty. And that does sound like I'm about to complain about it feeling empty. A while ago, I also saw a push for a Chapter 1 with remastered visuals, which at this point in the game's lifespan would just be impractical, by the way, but regardless, it was a thought. And I don't think that Chapter 1 needs this. In a way, Card Kingdom's lack of grandeur adds to Chapter 1's air of mystery. If you've attended my history lecture, then you know about how mysterious and unknown Deltarune's initial release was. Exiting that survey program was just... Where am I? Seeing Undertale's characters in a whole new place was... Is this post-Pacifist? Are we high-key Frisk? Are we low-key Kara? Does that matter? Will it matter? Where am I? Where's Reznov? Upon entering the supply closet, we enter the most mysterious dark world to date. Period. I'm not debating it. The mystique of the cliffs carries over into Castletown, a cramped town that is literally empty. It's called empty in the OST, for crying out loud. What reason does this empty town even have to exist? Now, after that, imagine entering Card Kingdom, but having it be as packed with visuals as of Chapter 2, before we even understood the nature of the Dark Worlds or what they could be like. That, much like the recruitment system, would have been pure overload for our minds. The improved backdrops of Chapter 2 and beyond feel natural because at that point we now knew about the nature of Deltarune, the nature of Dark Worlds. There was much less mystery surrounding them. But in Chapter 1, though, none of this knowledge was there until we, beat the chapter, obviously. The Card Kingdom being filled with these black backgrounds serves that mysterious intrigue more beautifully than you'd think. We didn't know what was out there besides Card Castle. Was the world beautiful? Was it a place of comfort? Or were there brooding structures and areas in the darkness cementing the Dark Worlds as a dangerous place? We just didn't know. We had no way to know at that point. It was all up to imagination. The Dark Worlds themselves were imagination, from what we knew, at least in some sense. In short, Chapter 1's seemingly quote-unquote weak art direction actually serves towards the chapter's vibes and themes much better than intricate mosaic backgrounds would end up doing. It doesn't need some type of overhaul. And also, frankly, I think it will receive one once we just inevitably revisit the Card Kingdom, but I digress. Chapter 1 in its current state has perfectly fine art that serves its purpose well. A final gameplay thing about Chapter 1 that is fairly obscure now is the target system. This one got removed entirely after Chapter 1. Well, only kinda, but still, it did. The target system was this, white box that showed you which one of your party members was going to get hit next. I don't got much else to really say about it. Pretty simple stuff. White box. Target, target, target. It did lay the groundwork for some funny moments, like knowing that Jevil was about to steamroll Rousey for the 5th turn in a row. I say that knowing who's going to get hit is the funny part because I lied, kind of. The only thing that was removed about the target system was the graphic, not the system itself. Now, it's just how taking damage works. There's still random targets every turn. I'm pretty sure there's some speedrun skip where it's lucky if Chris gets hit a bunch during the Speed Captain Cakes fight or something. I don't know how it works. I've only heard it in whispers. Now, unless if I'm dead ass wrong, then just please correct me. But to me, this is where Chapter 1 is actually objectively better than the others. Why doesn't or why shouldn't the game not say who's being targeted? Why should it be up to... it's up to chance, but I feel like there was no reason to remove the knowing. I guess it's not that big of a deal because if you get hit when the turn starts, you're going to pretty quickly know. But I don't know. I don't really see it as redundant. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but I feel like I'd rather it be there. You know what I mean? Again, maybe my memory is just failing me, so I'm genuinely asking here, why shouldn't the game do this? Chapter 1 is the undisputed GOAT of the target system in my mind. So yeah, to me, Chapter 1's gameplay flaws aren't exactly flaws in my opinion. They work to make the chapter a digestible introduction to the world of Deltarune, keeping its inner workings, like literally how the systems work, how dark worlds function, not even function, just like what they can be like under a veil of mystery. Now it's time for some true bona fide Chapter 1 glaze. Let's go over some hype aura moments that people have frankly forgotten about, or at least don't acknowledge. Biggest example that I gotta bring up is the Susie versus Lancer cutscene battle in the, I guess the prison basement. I think it's called basement, but prison floor. This is where the versus Susie theme comes from. Now, I'm sure you all knew that, but just don't think about it all too much. And in this age of versus Susie x Megalovania covers, or versus Susie x Battle Against a True Hero, I'm just kind of surprised that people don't bring up or at least reference this initial encounter more often, since it's where versus Susie came from to begin with. Regardless, this scene itself might just be my favorite thing from Chapter 1 besides Jevil. Whew, we'll get into Jevil. It hits just as hard as later scenes in the game because it's perfect for Susie's character at the time. Just like other hype aura moments in Chapter 4, like her healing Jackenstein or her crashing out on Rousey, which are also some of the best scenes in the game. While her character is wildly different during Chapter 1, it is still an absolutely perfect scene here, and it helps advance her character to what it is today as of Chapter 4. And that's a lot of the reason why I think Chapter 1 is still the GOAT. It set such important groundwork for the rest of the game that many overlook, and I'm not just talking about the battle system. For example, I gotta keep milking his aura dry. I really don't mean to, but by God, Jevil is good. He's really good, and we forget. Jevil set up the entire trend of secret bosses. As of now, he literally owns the freedom motif. Remember that. That shit's crazy. This dude owns the freedom motif. It's his. Blood is free as shit. And also, Spade King, hype aura. Set the groundwork for final chapter bosses messing with the battle box a ton, eventually devolving into whole new gimmicks with Chapter 2's Punch Out and Tenna's minigames. Crazy, man. I remember seeing King swing the battle box was diabolical. Oh my god. The feeling is still unmatched, not even gonna lie to you. I don't think Tenna's smash cut even tops it, but that might be Dust Trust's fault. Because that's all I could think about when I saw Tenna slice the box. I think I was saying out loud, holy shit, Slaughter in the spotlight, dude. They copied Dust Trust. And in addition to just these precedents for future battles and future other characters, main characters were set up masterfully in Chapter 1 as well, with Rousey taking off his hat at the end of Chapter 1, showing his eventual emergence, and Susie sparing Lancer's life, acting as a catalyst for her growth. Chapter 1 was just incredible setup. Some super strong foundations that I've seen people drag on because of their issues with the graphics or the battle mechanics, which, as I previously mentioned, actually work toward the chapter's strengths in my eyes. I hope this doesn't come off as me calling Chapter 1 a, quote, potential man or something, because that just isn't the point. The point is that had these elements of Chapter 1 that I've described been different, quote unquote, polished, then I don't think that Deltarune would have the structure to blossom into what it is today. Take Chapter 3, for example. Might seem like a kind of a weird leap, but hear me out here. Chapter 3, to me, feels like an evolution of Chapter 1's humor if Chapter 2 didn't exist. That isn't to say Chapter 2 isn't funny, it just feels completely separated from what came before it, and I think that's made some people forget how Chapter 1 can still be felt in the writing style of other chapters. If Chapter 2 just didn't exist and went straight to 3, honestly, I'd believe you if Chapter 2 characters weren't present. Chapter 1's more serious tone was also abandoned in Chapter 2, but taken into Chapter 4 in spades. Wait, spades? Oh, I get that joke. If Chapter 3 is Chapter 1 trying to be Chapter 2-esque, then Chapter 4 is a direct evolution of Chapter 1. Oh, a little bit of chapterception going on here. Chapter 4 feels like an expansion of that fantasy aesthetic that Chapter 1 had going for it. Obviously, the point of Chapter 4 is to poke holes in that fairy tale feeling by the end, but still. I know I just said Chapter 3's humor is more of an extension of Chapter 1, but by that, I mean, oh god, Chapter 3 is Chapter 1's Chapter 2. Dude, God, I hope that makes sense, man. Take a shot every time I say chapter, I double dog dare you. But anyway, on the other hand, Chapter 4 feels like an extension of Chapter 1's humor for what it was, not using Chapter 2 as an example. The humor of the Cupton NPCs, or any time Gerson cracks a wise one, a la, I'm old, it just feels like Chapter 1 to me. A serious tone as a whole, with dialed back humor to still keep things fun. With the exception of Jackenstein, because he's Chapter 2 and 3 core, but still. The majority of Chapter 4 feels like a direct extension of Chapter 1. And Chapter 4 is without a doubt the best chapter in many people's minds, and my own. So, why doesn't Chapter 1 get love by proxy? Well, two reasons. One, the gameplay reasons I've already described. By Chapter 4, it's gotten so advanced to the point where now there's new gimmicks on the battles as a whole, freaking signified by a whole new battle theme. But two, the fact that Chapter 2 completely threw Chapter 1's style out the window until Chapter 4. Gone was the brooding, intimidating antagonist, and gone was the serious tone as a whole. Even the weird route feels more like a creepypasta than anything, dialing back the seriousness whether it likes it or not. This isn't me dogging on Chapter 2, by the way, just saying what it did to Chapter 1's memory. It made us forget what Chapter 1 was even truly like, so by the time Chapters 3 and 4 released, we didn't even think to bring up similarities to that first chapter. So I say, give more respect to Chapter 1, my possibly naysaying team. Without it, the best chapters in the game, all of them, would have almost no legs to stand on. They'd have incredibly thin, frail, sickly legs without the first chapter's characterization and gradual introduction of the game's mechanics. Its world didn't overwhelm us, for the most part, by holding back in the visual department, which is seemingly a detrimental thing, but it really held us back from understanding how Dark Worlds worked or what they could even be like, keeping us hooked all the way through until Chapters 2 and beyond showed their diversity. I love you, Deltarune Chapter 1, mwah, and Jevil, mwah. But you guys already knew that. Tune into the Oroween special, by the way. Info carded, hopefully, if I remember, or if I do it right. One time I messed up. It's something you're gonna just plop on in the background. I wrote 4 pieces of fan fiction of varying styles and read it out loud for an hour. It's got a Noel blog post, a poorly written sad Susie story, a poem that I'm not going to tell you who it's from, and I wrote Lord of the Freaking Hammer, and that's like 35 minutes of it. I felt like Gerson Boom himself doing that shit, dude, really. Anyway, I love Chapter 1, and you should love it too. Say its name. Put respect on its name from here on out. Got it, team? Cool. With that, make sure to subscribe, join the Discord server, link in the description, and subscribe more, Consider joining memberships for $2.99 per month. I'd greatly appreciate it, but don't feel pressured. And now, it is time to get into the weekly Rubes 70 Digest. We got one piece of fan mail from 2 weeks ago now, actually. My bad for not including it in the Oroween special. I just figured that was too, dare I say, special for me to include in that. Kind of would have felt weird. I don't know. And also, Rube Danny just clearly does not know what he's doing when he's being presented with an MP4. So we're going to have him stick to MP3s on official RZ from now on. But anywhoosies, we got this relatively old mail from Delta Paradise from 2 weeks ago. Again, my bad, but here we go. Hi. I've really liked your Undertale/Deltarune videos. Your opinions are so IDK how to explain it. I just enjoy seeing your thoughts on that game and the fandom and stuff. And I saw you talking about the email in that video about canon, like, OMG, hi. Angel emoji. I've been making this game for a while and the demo's been out for a bit. It's a story-based hack and slash. I think, and I don't need you to make a video about it or anything, but I'd love if I could hear your thoughts on it. It would mean a lot to me. Comma, Angel. And there's a link to Bits to Bits by Paulo Kalamu, which I guess is this person's actual name, but Delta Paradise is the email. Go watch this in the info card for my thoughts. I have not played it as of recording this, so little supplemental video here. Go watch me play Paulo Kalamu Delta Paradise's game. Fan of the channel. Thank you. I will support you because you support me. A little bit of bargaining. I'm sure the game's going to be great. All of you guys are insanely talented. We always cook. Our team is the best team. I think Oroween proved that. All the fan art, spectacular. We are a team! And that's the weekly fan mail. If you'd like to submit some fan mail yourself, do so by emailing the business email, which has hopefully been on screen for a few minutes now. I appreciate every single ounce of support. Now, for the rest of the digest. As of writing this, Chapter 1's history lesson video. I don't know why I said ones, but it's about to hit 100. Bro, I'm gonna like pass out talking about it, bro. 100,000 views. What the fuck? It's about to be our first 6-digit. It is at 99,500 as we're recording this. By the time this video's up, it's going to have hit it, and that's just like, oh man, holy shit! Thank you guys, man. It makes me really happy. I'm eternally grateful. Thank you guys. His aura has finally met his maker as my most popular, well-known video. Got a goddamn reaction to it, dude. Got a reaction to it. I love this video, by the way. So when I dog on it, I'm doing it from a place of love. But I never thought I'd get to the point where I have somebody basically just playing my video with little to no changes and with like, this sounds mean but I really don't mean it, with like slightly meaningless commentary. I never thought I'd get there. This is a milestone for me. This is awesome. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, carrying us to almost 3,000 subscribers. We're at 2.9k and 78 as of recording this, man. We can get there. 3,000. Oroween special already released for Halloween, so I don't really think I have it in me to do another big special. And frankly, I have no ideas. But let me know what you want to see, I guess, for a type of special thing. But just thank you, man. Let's keep pushing. Let's keep expanding our Empire team. We're like the Mongols. If the Mongols were nice, okay? We're like the Mongols if the Mongols were cutie patooties. And if they didn't help spread the plague. The big leagues are calling and they need our help to make them bigger. Thank you for your support. Seriously. Keep subscribing. Join the Discord server. Consider? Whoa. What was that? Consider channel memberships. $2.99 a month. It'd be cool to help me out. Don't feel pressured though. Sayonara.